Hello, citizens of the internet. It is I, your friend Spades, back with another video. You might notice we aren't in my regular recording space. Um, we have Timothy and Rocket here with me today. Say hello, Timothy and Rocket. I really just went across his neck. I didn't intend to do that, but you know what? Serendipity. Um, yeah, we aren't in my regular recording space because I'm doing something different tonight. Or today, depending on when you watch this. Let me fix my pillows. I know my pillows are ugly. Shut up, leave me alone. I'm gonna get decorative pillows soon, and they aren't gonna be ugly. But for right now, we're with ugly pillows. Deal with it. Um, we're doing something different. I noticed that the last two videos, the only two videos, or no, I've uploaded three, but the videos I've uploaded recently have been very witchcraft centric, and I decided to do something for my non-witchy subscribers, viewers, whatever you prefer to call yourself, whether you subscribe or not. Which you should. You should subscribe to my channel because if you're watching this, then you know me. Probably. And you're my friend. And fake friends don't watch videos without subscribing, so just wanted to say that. Anyway, today we're gonna be going through r slash am I the asshole and rendering a personal judgment on these people. And so, let's begin with our four stories of the night. Am I the asshole for asking my partner why he blindly takes his parents' advice on everything? So I wanted to post to relationship advice, but figured it was much too of a moral judgment post. I'm looking for an answer to two questions, really. Firstly, is his response justified? And secondly, am I the asshole for what I said? Small background. I've been dating for 6 months ish. I'm about a year older, but significantly more independent streetwise. I have rented apartments myself multiple times on my own, looked to buy a house and get mortgage at one point, etc. He is only now renting his first apartment with roommates. I appreciate my common sense with these things. I appreciate my common sense with these things isn't common for our age, but I think it's relevant background. That what? Essentially, he will blindly follow his parents' advice even if it is absurd. It can range from silly things to quite significant things. No decision can be made without consulting them, which, don't get me wrong, I do not think it's a bad thing. However, I do advocate for independence and being able to form your own opinions on things, because it's not always going to align with what your parents think, and sadly, they won't always be around to help you. I'm honestly embarrassed over how stupid this whole thing was. I was putting away his laundry and I noticed how many socks he had. I was saying something along the lines of, "Wow, you really have a lot of socks." Very jokingly. Very jokingly. Both of us were finding it funny. Then I brought up the time we went on a 4-week trip to England and he only packed 5 pairs of socks as there were laundry facilities. But I mean, come on, 5? He told me again it was because that was how many his mother told him to pack, and quite honestly, it was a pain in the ass because we were constantly doing laundry the whole trip and it wasn't free, which we knew beforehand. I brought this up, and although I shouldn't have and could have gone about it better, I asked him, "Why do you just blindly follow your parents' advice like that?" He asked me what I meant, and I cited the trip and how ridiculous that was, in a funny kind of way. I pointed out that even when he disagrees, he puts his parents' opinions on things before his own. He didn't find it funny at all and refused to speak to me. Now, this is where I want an answer to the first question. I let him cool off for a bit and asked him why he wasn't speaking to me. He looked at me and said, "Because you're a fucking cunt." I was literally too shocked for words, so I didn't say anything. He gets moody sometimes, but he's never ever spoken to me like this. He's always treated me extremely well. It was honestly super upsetting, and as I didn't think my remark was a huge deal, but obviously I see now that I'm totally in the wrong with that assumption. I understand it was rude of me, and I'm guessing I hit a nerve with it. But is his reaction justified? Even in the past, even in past relationships, nobody has ever spoken to me like that. Too long didn't read. I asked my boyfriend why he blindly follows his parents' advice, and he doesn't think for himself, and he called me a fucking cunt. Am I the asshole? This is interesting. So, on the surface, you're not, You're not the asshole because you're just. It was more of a curious question, like why is this how you go about things? I'm really trying to understand. This is a really weird one. I'm gonna say no, you're not. Because you weren't being malicious. You weren't trying to poke fun at him or shame him for something. You were genuinely curious about why he does something the way he does. And you were asking. And I'm not sure the specific wording, but maybe the way you worded it came across in a way that he felt attacked or disrespected in. But his reaction wasn't really warranted or justified. That was kind of. That's. Hmm, interesting. I'm gonna say no. Me personally, I'm gonna say no. Story number 2. Am I the asshole? Oh, never mind. It's been removed. Alright, moving on. I'm trying to find one that isn't removed. Okay, here. Am I the asshole for telling my brother slash coworker he's not a real art teacher or therapist? I've been a teacher for about 5 years. I teach music and sometimes sub for the home class. My younger brother recently started working at the school I teach at, which is annoying because I never remember him studying for anything in that field. He doesn't have a set class even though he has regular students that see him. Students can choose to go in and spend lunch breaks with him, their spare classes with him, or even choose to come in on their flexi days and spend those with him, and he always has a full room. He doesn't actually teach anything though. They paint and draw and write and bake and do all sorts of other stuff, but it's pretty much just a free time room. There are no set lesson plans aside from journals of their feelings they can choose to hand into him, and they like to do group activities and whatever just because he likes the structure. But he's not a class. Half the students don't even call him Mr. Clark. It's either Clarky or Sir. Clarky or Sir. I'm not sure if I mumbled that. I might have. We recently had a barbecue with a few good friends, and we haven't seen them in a while, and they of course wanted to know what we were up to. My brother told them I'm still teaching, and he started as well. I pointed out that he wasn't actually a real teacher, that it was just an optional fun room students could choose to go to during lunch in their spirits, just like some choose to go to the library and play games. My brother got offended, and we got into a heated argument when they left, saying his job was just as important as mine, and I have no idea what those kids have gone through and what his class does for them. Our friends say I'm an asshole for demeaning his job in that kind of setting, and I should apologize. I don't think I need to be apologizing for calling him out because his class isn't really class. He's not really a teacher. I'm feeling a little unsure of myself now, however, because of how much tension it has created between the two of us. Am I the asshole? Yes, you're the asshole. Okay, so he is part of the faculty, and he's not a custodian or an administrator. So there's only really one of two things that he could be: a counselor or a teacher. And he has a classroom, and children go into the classroom and learn from him, whether it be a specific educational learning following a curriculum or life learning where these kids learn experiences and how to navigate the social world. You He's really right. You have no idea what those kids go through and what that class does for them. You are not in that class, and you are not those kids. You are not there to render judgments on what is and isn't teaching. Teaching is learning in any capacity, whether it be a curriculum or not. So you saying, well, you're not a real teacher, is really a shitty thing to say. You aren't there to make that call. You're not on the school board, so don't. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Story number 3. Would I be the asshole for going back on my word about renting an apartment with a friend? My friend Hannah, female 22, and I, female 23, both live with my parents at the moment. Hannah has been a friend of mine since middle school, so about 6 months ago, when she said she didn't have a place to live, I asked my parents if we could take her in until we both found a place. They were fine as long as we continued to save money and eventually move out. This may be where I messed up, as while Hannah and I have been good friends, we only recently became really close in the past 2 years. So we never spent so we never spent time in a home setting other than with friends. After 6 months of having Hannah stay with my family, I realized I don't want to go with her. Rather, I want to move out by myself. First, Hannah and I happened to play PS4, so when I first moved in, she didn't have a TV or game console. Oh, so when she first moved in, she didn't have a TV or game console. So Hannah was always in my room playing games or watching TV for the first month. It was getting to me as I appreciate time to myself. So I bought Hannah a TV and PS4 Slim. She was thankful, and at the time I felt good and bad, as the main reason was to get her out of my room. Hannah doesn't have a car because she doesn't want to drive. I was aware and offered to give her a ride when necessary. However, she drinks and smokes a lot, to the extent I wasn't aware of. So about every day she'll ask for a ride to Stripes, which happens to be a couple of blocks. Could be morning or when I'm about to go to bed. I'm not okay with this, and she knows. So she'll ask when we're out and about. For example, I took her to pick up her check, which is fine, but then she tells me we need to go by Stripes without letting me know first. She said she didn't tell me beforehand because she thought I would say no, so I said yes. Hannah also doesn't have her ID since her purse was stolen, so I have to be the one to buy the alcohol and cigarettes, which has been constant. There are occasions where she says she doesn't have money and that she'll pay me back next paycheck. Next paycheck. She hasn't so far. So now, just a couple of days ago, she asked for another ride. I assumed it was for drinks again, but I realized she had a bag of her belongings. I asked what she was doing, and she said she needed to sell stuff as she didn't have enough money to get by. I asked her about the money she's supposed to have saved for the apartment. Turns out she doesn't have any after 6 months of staying with us. This infuriates me because she still doesn't have her ID, so on paper, I would be the only one renting an apartment, while trusting Hannah to pay me the other half. At this point, I don't know I want to leave with her and rather rent an apartment on my own instead. I just don't know how to tell her because she doesn't have anywhere to go. Her family has stayed away and she already lived with other friends and a good remainder of time. Any advice would be appreciated. In this situation, you wouldn't be the asshole, honestly. Um, Whenever we're young, we tend to make plans and make ideas about our future with our friends, and honestly, we might not even be friends with those people in the future. So, we're just being dumb kids, and I think that's what you did here. Um, but it seems like Hannah has issues with substance abuse and um, what's it called? Financial responsibility. So I would I would have to like hold a family intervention and like have her like sit her down and say like, hey, if you don't get your act straight, then we aren't going to be able to move in together because this, and this, giving her the rundown of the situation. And if she doesn't like it, then as hard as it is to say, she can leave. She has to be responsible for something in her life. And if she can't be paying for an apartment, she's not saving up, she's not getting her ID to go get a job, then there's really nothing that you can do to help her other than tell her and give her that opportunity. You've done what you could. Like after you tell her, you've done all that you can do to help her. It's up to her at that point. And really it's up to her now. But if she's not being responsible, then you have to be the one to tell her. I have something in my mouth. I don't know what that is. It looks like fiber or something. But yeah, you would not be the asshole. This is story number 4. This is our final story. Am I the asshole for telling her to block her ex? So here's the story. My current girlfriend of 2.5 years and mother of my biological daughter is having baby daddy issues. This guy is the biological father of our 3-year-old daughter, but has chosen meth over his daughter since day one. Literally, he overdosed while mom was giving birth and was saved in the same hospital. Then Child Protection Services came and visited with mom within 24 hours and yada yada yada. Anyway, mom isn't into drugs, just FYI. So this dude has been trying to shoot the shit with mom, and to be frank, I've held my tongue about it until now. Mom tells me and doesn't respond to his messages unless they pertain to their girl, almost never, and he doesn't help in any way, shape, or form with the raising of this child. She doesn't know him, and I'm daddy to her. I of course love her as my own, and I feel I deserve this title. So I told mom to just block him and move on. I said it bothers me he's just trying to BS with you. She's scared to block him because she doesn't want to provoke a custody battle out of spite. He wouldn't win. Am I the asshole for asking her to do so? No, you're not. Um, you're obviously a much better guy than this other dude, and you're looking out for your girlfriend and your daughter. That's all there is to it. She's still she was in a toxic relationship and she still hasn't gotten out of it, even though you're her new relationship. She's still stuck on this toxic relationship. And in toxic relationships, you just have to cut the string and leave your losses. And if he really wants to provoke a custody battle, man, what would you have to lose? Literally nothing. He wouldn't win. He's a meth head, and he overdosed on the first day of. He overdosed while you're giving birth. If he was to clean up his life and get his act together and come to you and apologize and say that he wants to be a part of his daughter's life, then I would maybe say like, but he hasn't. He's just continuing to do this stuff, and he's trying to drag your girlfriend into it, which is not okay. If she's already said no, then no means no. So, no, you're not the asshole. Plain and simple. Actually, I think I'm going to do one more story. I know I said 5, but I know I said 5. Or I know I said 4, but I why not throw in an extra one? Why not? Am I the asshole for letting my daughter get plastic surgery? Oh boy. That is an omen of things to come. I burp. Anyway, my daughter is 14 and was born in India. We immigrated when she was 5, but in India it's standard to get the tuberculosis vaccine. A side effect of the vaccine is there is an indent on the skin where the shot was administered. Where the shot is administered. It's not very large on most people, and mine is very small, but for some reason she ended up with a hole in her arm. I can put my finger in it. She can use her arm perfectly and has no ill effects from it. She just doesn't like the way it looks. She's lived with it her whole life and hates it. She refuses to wear anything that shows off that hole, and she was bullied for it a lot. She's in middle school now and begging me to get surgery to fix it. She's even saved up to $1,000 for the surgery. I don't like people getting plastic surgery, but in this case, it's more to fix something that shouldn't have been there in the first place. My husband is not at all saying plastic surgery are for My husband is not happy at all saying plastic surgery are for insecure people and that she should just learn to like the hole in her arm. He is against the surgery, but I brought her to a surgeon who said it would be an easy fix and only take under 10 minutes. I know my husband is against it, but I signed the agreement forms and she had it done. She is totally healed and loves her new arm, but my husband is furious and I went against him and let her do the surgery. No, you're not. Okay. Having cosmetic surgery, there's no problem. Okay, how do I explain this? Your daughter didn't like something about herself, so she wanted to change it. It's not like, or your daughter didn't like a scar that she had, really. It's not just something that she was born with. It's not like she had a flat ass or she had small tits. No, she had a hole in her arm that she didn't like. It's not something that she was born with. So it's not like, oh, well, you should learn to love your body, because that's not her biological body. That was a side effect of something that happened. So she didn't like it, so there's no problem with getting it changed. And really, there's no problem with plastic surgery in the first place. I was going somewhere. There's no problem with plastic surgery in the first place. If you don't like something about your body and you decide to get something done to change it, that's you. It's your life. And she decided that she wanted something done very young, but it's not something that changed her body. It's something that fixed a problem that was given to her. She wanted the hole in her arm fixed, which that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like you gave her breast implants at 14. You're not the asshole. If anything, your husband is. Because he's like, oh, well, you should learn to love your body and learn to love your whole. Sir, what? And honestly, that's kind of rapey. Honestly, like, learn to love your body and get used to your hole or whatever. Like, not rapey, but like, I don't know. It just gives me pedophile vibes for some reason, and I don't like it. And I don't like it. But yeah, you're not the asshole for that one. And with that, we are done for tonight. Thank you for joining me on this lovely adventure, rendering moral judgment. And if you liked it, like the video. If you didn't like it, you should still like the video, but you should comment that you didn't like the video. And if you want to see more stuff like this or more witchy content, if you want to see stuff like this, witchy content, I'm doing a room tour. Why can I not say that? I'm doing a room tour soon. Who knows what I'll be doing in the future? It's up to time. Why do you keep going off? Who keeps texting me? If you enjoyed this, give it a like. Subscribe, comment, share. Show your dog. I'm sure your dog would love this video. Yeah. Have a lovely rest of whatever time period you're in right now. Morning, day, evening, who knows? It's evening for me. It is 10:17. So I'm going to say have a lovely rest of your evening, and I'll see you next video. Bye!